After decades of activism in Saudi Arabia around the right to drive, starting in June of this year, women in Saudi Arabia will actually be eligible to receive driving licenses for the first time. In advance of that date, though, which has been a long time coming, many of the very women who were able to push for this change have been being rounded up and arrested by Saudi authorities. 4 activists have been released, but up to 7 others remain in detention. The number exactly who have been arrested, by the way, from report to report changes, but it seems everyone agrees that at least 10 have been arrested. Most are women who previously campaigned for the right to drive and an end to the kingdom's male guardianship system, which requires women to obtain the consent of a male relative for major decisions. And I want to spotlight a few of those activists. Activist Lujain Al-Hathlul was arrested at her home on Tuesday evening. She campaigned against the decades-old driving ban and ranked number 3 in a list of the most powerful Arab women for her work. Amnesty International named 3 other women who were detained as Emin Al-Nafjan, who became widely known for activism, Aziza Al-Youssef, a fellow leader in the campaign to drive, and Aisha Al-Mania, who campaigned for women's right to drive since the early 90s. She's a 70-year-old who survived a heart attack and obviously needed to be rounded up in advance of the change being made. I also wanted to read a comment from another one of the right to drive activists, Manal Sharif, who wrote a book about this campaign. I was actually lucky enough to interview her in Oslo last year at the Freedom Forum. She said, "My optimism has been dashed by the state-led public smearing campaign against the arrested activists. Until these arrests, I had planned to return to Saudi Arabia on June 24th. I've had to explain to my son over the phone why his mother is not coming in June, why the first ever road trip that we planned will not become a reality." And by the way, in addition to the arrests that have happened, there's also been, as was alluded to by Manal Sharif, a campaign against these activists in the press. The day after the news of the arrest broke, many Saudi newspapers called the detained activists traitors in their front page stories and relayed a statement by the Ministry of Interior accusing them of conspiring with foreign entities to plot against national security. They have been referred to as belonging to a cell that is coming in to attempt to destabilize the government.
Yeah, so Saudi women civil rights activists joins the list of bravest people on earth, along with independent Russian journalists, Palestinian protesters, etc. And so apparently this is what reform looks like in Saudi Arabia. Now, the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is an interesting character, to say the least. So 2 sides to him, theoretically. One side is, let's go commit the worst human rights atrocities the world has seen in quite some time in Yemen. And let's also try to destabilize the entire Middle East and start a war with Iran. And let's kidnap foreign leaders, as he did to the leader of Lebanon, and then make them resign while we basically put a gun to his head. Let me also go and capture all the other princes and imprison them in a fancy hotel until they give me all their money, and I'll pretend that it's about corruption while I buy a $500 million yacht. That's literally what happened, okay? On the other hand, was supposed to be, but I'm gonna let women drive. And I'm doing reforms here, and the Wahhabis are not in charge anymore, the strict fundamentalist Muslims of Saudi Arabia. And he went on a tour in America and did a whole bunch of propaganda, and 60 Minutes helped him out and gave his side of the story largely, I think. And some articles, yes, pointing out some of the other stuff, but a lot of glowing praise about how he's a reformer, because now he's allied with Israel. So if you get allied with Israel, you will have a lot of great press in America. But it turns out the reforms, they didn't mention the part where they arrest all the women who've been fighting for these reforms in the first place. And so whatever you saw that was positive about the Crown Prince, whatever little there was, now add a giant grain of salt to that.
Well, are we supposed to be excited that in 2018 women for the first time are able to drive? I mean, this is one of the worst countries in the world for women, and this charm offensive that you're talking about was insulting. Here you have the prince being lauded around the mainstream media, even in The Guardian I saw full page, just saying that he's this reformer, he's a revolutionary, right? He's a revolutionary. One of the worst places in the world for women, actually a police state dictatorship, not even just women. We're talking about people beheaded in the street for sorcery, actual political dissidents who are executed en masse for just protesting. Where did the Arab Spring happen there? It did happen. We just didn't see anything coming from it because everyone was killed. This is the U.S. empire's gas station and also their battering ram in the Middle East. Just like Israel, we use it as a one-stop shop for a lot of stuff, and we cover up these egregious war crimes. Like you said, the gravest humanitarian crisis in the world is in Yemen, where they're using U.S. weapons and intelligence to bomb Yemenis. So I am just vehemently disgusted with the coverage of Saudi Arabia. And then this, even on top of women having the right to drive, they're just arresting all the people. Are they going to do retractions in all these papers that lauded him as a revolutionary? Are they going to talk about this on the front page?
Are they going to do an equal and opposite piece on 60 Minutes? That's going to last 15 to 20 minutes about how it turns out, no, he's just as barbaric as everyone else, plus all the other things. No, but look, we know the preposterous double standard of the U.S. press. So when Iran struck back at Israel after Israel had repeatedly bombed their positions inside Syria, most of the press reported it as Israel has to respond to Iran's attacks, just conveniently leaving out Israel's earlier attacks. Well, that's pretty convenient. Even the New York Times, they would write it, but like on literally paragraph 48, that, oh, by the way, Israel had attacked earlier. So now, look, there's an Israel, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates alliance. So now anyone on the wrong side of that alliance, Qatar, Iran, Yemen, is in a world of trouble. And anyone on the quote unquote right side, it doesn't matter what they do. Even vicious things like this, these incredibly brave women who've been fighting for human rights in Saudi Arabia against all odds under a reign of terror, they imprison them and call them traitors, and what do? Nothing. I guarantee you there's not going to be a sanction, there's not going to be a single action, right? Because if this alliance is in favor of it, we bow our heads.
I disagree that there won't be a single action. Eventually, they're going to run out of the weapons we just sold them. They're going to need more. We have to sell them eventually, Cenk. Come on, get real. Yeah. And look, obviously, great context around all this. For this particular issue, they're rounding up all these people. I don't think anyone should take it for granted that on the 24th, these licenses will actually be given out. I mean, we know in past, if you read about the history of this campaign, it literally goes back multiple decades of women going out. Originally just in one or two people would do this and get arrested, get locked up. It's happened multiple times. Like I said, Manal Sharif, I think her book is Daring to Drive. She allowed herself to be filmed driving and spread it around. Thankfully that got some international recognition. But yeah, as you pointed out, like I've started watching The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
They have it way better in The Handmaid's Tale than women in Saudi Arabia have right now. And so anyway, to watch even the small gains that the activists have been able to like squeeze out of this regime possibly being taken back is pretty heartbreaking.
But that's actually why I think, I mean, obviously I'm looking at a crystal ball, so who knows? But that's actually why I think that they might actually get to drive on the 24th, because this at least sends the message to the activists, if you're thinking like a dictator, you're getting what you want, you're getting a win, but you're not. So everybody else looks at this and they're like, I can maybe win here, but I'm gonna personally pay for it if I do. So that's why this could be a movement to make that happen. Like they do see the rest of the world being mad about the women not being able to drive thing. I mean,
And to send a clear message to people saying, don't ever do what
Don't
these
try
women
this
did
again.
again.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jen. There's two parts to that point. One is, hey, we're giving you a concession, but don't try it again, because even if you get the concession, you personally are gonna pay a huge price. Don't ever forget it. Okay, don't ever defy us. The idea that the guy's a revolutionary is hilarious. He's literally a dictator. You need the revolution against him, right? Dictators don't need revolutions.
Top-down revolution.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And don't get me wrong, if he gets rid of the Wahhabis and it brings Saudi Arabia closer to secularism, I would love that. Okay, but I'll believe it when I see it. And it doesn't vitiate all the other terrible things that he's doing. And finally, the second half of Jen's point is that there's, of course, internal politics too, and the Wahhabis are strong, the fundamentalists inside of Saudi Arabia. So this could be a concession. Hey, look, we're letting women drive, but don't worry, we still hate them. So the conservatives in Saudi Arabia, we're gonna lock those people up anyway. We know how much you despise them. So at least there'll be punishments for the good people. And so that's a way to smooth the way towards a tiny amount of reform.
Yeah.
They'll still have to ask their husbands if they can drive.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below. then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.